So, you want to do a service project to properly retire the nation's flag. Paying final respects to our flag shows respect not only for the flag, but to our country and those who have fought and even died to protect it, our way of life, which is freedom and democracy, and us, your life and mine. In this short video, we will tell you how to conduct the ceremony for the flags of the United States of America and the United Nations, considering local laws, safety, and other things we learned when we held our own ceremony in our Boy Scout troop. There is no set ceremony or procedure, only guidelines. The proper way to retire flags frayed or weathered by use is found in the U.S. Code in Title 4, Chapter 1, in Section 8, under Respect for Flag. The flag, when it is in such condition that it is no longer a fitting emblem for display, should be destroyed in a dignified way, preferably by burning. As an authorized organization to perform flag retirement, Boy Scouts of America recommends, when the national flag is worn beyond repair, burn it thoroughly and completely on a modest but blazing fire. This should be done in a simple manner with dignity and respect. Be sure the flag is reduced to ashes, unrecognizable as a former flag. The ceremony can and should be relatively simple, but there are still some things to plan ahead of time. Location, burn permit, burn barrel, fuel, safety, flags, audience, time, and ceremony. So where will you hold your ceremony? You can't just build a fire anyplace. Key considerations are legality, permission, and safety. You need permission from the property owner. You also want to make sure it is legal at that location and time. You may need a burn permit. There may be a burn ban in effect. Sometimes burn bans allow exceptions for flag retirement, so be sure to check with the local authorities. The proper way to burn a flag should not involve being arrested. Make sure the site is safe for burning. The flames can sometimes reach 10 feet into the air, and there can also be floating embers carried by the hot smoke. So make sure there is nothing overhead or nearby that could catch fire. A small audience is appropriate, but you need to make sure they will be well away from the fire. If there will be small children, you need to remember they will be curious, so you need lots of space, at least 30 feet. We performed our ceremony on a military base in Japan. When we asked the base fire department for permission, they recommended a basketball court right down the street from the fire station. Burn barrel and fuel. Heat and fire source. Some fabrics are not all that flammable, so you need something to keep the fire going. Remember, fires need air to burn. Ideal burn barrels have holes in the bottom to let in air. Even better are special burn barrels made for flag disposal that have a grate to hold the flags above the fuel, so the flag won't smother the fire, and an opening at the bottom so you can add more fuel. Also consider that different fabrics burn differently. Cotton and wool burn slowly. Synthetic fabrics like polyester and nylon burn much faster. You might also want to cut off any metal eyelets as part of the ceremony or beforehand from the ropes only. And don't forget the matches. The base fire department loaned us a burn barrel. It was a simple metal barrel with no holes. We used charcoal and lighter fluid as a fire source, which worked pretty well. We also had wood available. The first of the larger flags, made of a synthetic fabric, almost put the fire out. But our charcoal stayed hot, and after about 10 minutes of smoke, the fire caught up again, although it stunk really bad. We found that it helped with the larger flags to use boards to hold the flag up to give it more air and to feed the flag in a bit at a time while maintaining our distance. Putting some 2 or 3 foot long pieces of wood in the barrel helped keep the flags up above the fire and from smothering it. By using boards and having standing wood in the barrel, even the large cotton flags burned quickly without much smoke. Think ahead of time and plan for safety. You don't need this to happen.
Ow!
Here are some considerations.
It's very important when you do any kind of open pit burning, any welding or cutting or anything where you're creating excessive amounts of heat, to make sure you always have a fire extinguisher away from the area so that you can get to it. You don't want it too close to what you're doing, because if you do need it and it's inside the burn area, you can get hurt yourself. Always make sure it's a type ABC extinguisher. This will put out just about any fire you can think of. It'll put out combustible paper, electrical fires, grease and oil, so it's a good all-around extinguisher. If you have a water extinguisher, water won't necessarily put out oil and things of that nature, so a good ABC extinguisher. If you do have a fire that does get out of control for whatever reason, make sure you call 911 or whatever the local number is for your fire department, so they can actually come out and make sure that the fire is totally out.
Your hands are the most likely parts of your body to get burned when working with fire. An old pair of leather gloves proves a lot of protection. Your fire department may also have old fireman's gloves to give you. Synthetic fabrics can create toxic smoke. This is another reason to keep folks away back from the burn barrel. We learned that more smoke is produced when the fire is being smothered.
Basically, the best way to get the fire going again is try not to let it burn out, and if you want to add something to it, newspaper, cardboard, anything that's combustible. You don't want to add any flammables such as gasoline, kerosene, or lighter fluid onto that. That'll create a pretty unsafe environment when doing that.
One of the firefighters volunteered to attend our ceremony and take part.
My name is Fred Ituli. I work with the Yokota Air Base Fire Department. I'm Assistant Chief of Operations.
He brought a fire extinguisher, a medical kit, his fire department radio, and provided a safety briefing to our volunteers. We also had leather gloves and cell phones. If you are retiring flags anyway, why not serve the community and gather as many old flags as possible? Old flags may be collected from the VFW, the American Legion, scout troops, military bases, schools, churches, and from anyone in any place that flies the flag. You might want to post flyers requesting old flag. Getting an audience is all in the advertising. Make announcements at school and church and local television stations. Make flyers. Do remember to bring chairs for the audience. They may be there a long time if you have a lot of flags. Refreshments are a nice way to say thank you to the audience and other participants. For the ceremony itself, there is no set procedure, only guidelines. Plan what to say. We show respect and formality by preparing remarks ahead of time rather than just winging it. Say the Pledge of Allegiance and salute the flag one last time. Respectfully and reverently place the flags in the fire one at a time. We checked with United Nations personnel and were told that there were not specific rules for disposal of UN flags. It stands to reason that similar reverence and respect are in order.